Hey, this is Melody from Melody's Makings, and I just want to give you a quick look today at how to knit a thrum. So just to give you a quick idea of what a thrum is, this is a project that features thrumming. Each of these little blue V's is a thrum, and essentially what a thrum is a little piece of roving or roving style yarn that you knit the stitch with, and it creates this nice fuzzy felted inside to your project. Super warm, super cozy. So I'm just going to give you a quick look at how to do it. So knitting thrums is super easy. The materials that you need is the project that you'll be working on. I just have a little sample here. And the roving or the roving style yarn that you'll be thrumming with. So this is what it looks once you've kind of created it into a thrum. And this is Patton's wool roving yarn. So I've got bulky roving yarn here. And this is what it looks like before I tear it apart. So essentially, in order to make a thrum, because my yarn is so thin, I want my thrum to be closer in size to the thickness of my yarn. So I'm going to tear my thrumming yarn into very thin pieces. I like to divide it into either 2 or 3. Sometimes the thickness of this yarn is different in different spots. So it'll be either 2 or 3 depending on the thickness, and then I just give it a nice little tug. So if you're using roving, you just need pieces about this size. And if you're using roving yarn, then those are the pieces the same that you need. And then you can dive into your project. So if you're following a thrummed pattern, it should specify where your thrum stitches go, or it should at a minimum tell you how the thrum stitches should line up so you can throw in a thrum stitch wherever you need one. But let me show you how to get it going. So to get started with your thrumming, you're just going to knit across to wherever your pattern specifies that you'll want the thrum stitch. So I'm just going to kind of place mine every 3 stitches apart or so. So I'm going to be thrumming this next stitch here. Now, in order to do the thrum, I like to have just a nice little stack of my handy thrums available so I can grab them whenever I'm ready. And I like to give them just a little twist as they hold their shape slightly better. Not necessary, but it seems to be a little easier for them as far as working with them goes if you give them that little twist. And then you're just going to prep them here. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your right hand needle, and you're going to insert not through the stitch like you normally would, but instead you're going to insert your right hand needle through the V right below the first stitch on your left hand needle, the stitch that you're working the thrum on. So rather than inserting like a normal knit through that loop, you're going to go down into the V below the loop, and you're going to take your nice little thrum at this point, give it a little twist and get it ready. And then you're just going to give it a nice little wrap around that needle, at which point you can pull your needle back through the V and you've got a thrum wrap around your needle. Then you're going to go back to your working yarn and the loop, the front loop here of your knit stitch, and you're going to knit that stitch right above the thrum one where you just put the thrum, just like normal. So you can see you've got the thrum and then you've got your stitch. And in order to finish off this thrum, you simply need to bind it off by using your left needle to lift the thrum up and over that first stitch on your right hand needle and then drop it off in the middle. Then you've got to come back to the back side of your work and give it a nice little tug to cozy it up there. And you can see I've got a nice little V for my thrum. So let me give you just one more look at that. Knit 3 in between, and then for the thrum I'm simply going to drop down into the V below my next loop, my next stitch, insert my right needle through that V, grab my thrum, give it a nice little twist, and then just loop it around the needles, somehow making this look more awkward than it really is, I think. And then once you've got that thrum loop pulled through the V under the loop, you're going to grab your working yarn once again, and you're going to knit that loop of the V. If you don't get all tangled in your thrums, there we go. And then bind off the thrum by lifting it up and over. So I will admit I have not done my knit thrumming in a little while, practiced it. I've been crochet thrumming, so I feel a little handsy, but you get the general idea of how to thrum.